Now let's talk about satiety. Everybody familiar with this word? It comes from the same root word as satisfaction and satiation. And basically, satiety is the physical feeling of being full and satisfied. Now, I know there's other things that contribute to satiety, psychological and all the rest, but what we're going to talk about today is the physical feeling of being full and satisfied. I mean, anybody in here ever been hungry? Yeah, wrong crowd, sorry. Yes. Okay, so you all know what hunger is. Well, you know, you're really hungry, you go out to eat a big meal, and you know that feeling you get? That's satiety. That's what we're talking about. And it's a powerful built-in survival mechanism. Now, the problem with a lot of diets and approaches to eating is they limit the amount of food you can eat, which stimulates hunger. But hunger is a powerful built-in survival mechanism. You just can't beat. How many of you have tried to defeat hunger with willpower? How good does that work? Maybe a few hours, maybe a day or two, and then you eat everything that isn't nailed down in the house. Right. And then they come out with different diets and different pills, and they tell you these diets will work because they'll stop you from being hungry because they have more protein or fat, or they have certain ratios, right? Or they give you supplements, and this will help quell your hunger. We're all fighting hunger, but hunger's not the problem. Just like your desire to drink beverages, right, or breathe air. That's not the problem. The problem is we've changed the food supply and what it is we can satisfy our hunger with. And let me show you. We're going to do like a real experiment here. I think yesterday I pretty much convinced you it's calories in versus calories out, right? We really can't change that. It's calories in versus calories out. So what I want to do is I'm going to put two foods up here. Let's say we're going to have a snack. You know, maybe like 100 calories or so. I'm going to put two foods up here. Right here I'm going to put the picture of one. Right here I'm going to put a picture of the other. They're both going to be equal calories. What I want you to do is look at the foods and see if you can determine which one will fill you up more than the other. Okay? Now they've done these studies, so we're going to kind of like simulate the study. You won't actually get to eat it. We'll just look up here. So one food will be here, one food will be there, and then you'll see which one fills you up more, okay? Everybody ready? Okay. Oh, and do me a favor. Just in case you get this right away, don't say anything out loud, okay? I want to give everybody an equal chance this time, okay? So everybody ready? Two foods, equal calories. All you got to do is see which one is more filling. Okay. So we got two little soy chicken nuggets, and we got 1 1/4 cups of vegetable lentil soup. Don't say anything yet. There are people still thinking on this one, okay? We'll give them a few minutes. Everybody think they got an answer? Which one do you think? The soup. Now, if you went to medical school or dietetic school or you studied biochemistry and physiology, they would tell you all different things about what fills you up. You might hear about chemicals and hormones and enzymes like CCK and ghrelin, and leptin. You might hear fat is more filling and all these other things, right? Just forget about it. Just pretend you just walked in off the street, which I think many of you did. You just walked in off the street. You don't know anything about biochemistry, chemistry, food, or anything. Just take a wild guess. What do you think it is about the vegetable lentil soup that will fill you up more than the soy chicken nuggets? Anybody? Volume. Man, there's just more of it. And it turns out that's right. They actually did these studies where they fed people equal calories of food to see which was the most filling. And they did it short-term, long-term, subjective, and objectively. So pretty good studies. And they found out that all foods that fill you up have 3 things in common. And can anybody guess what number 1 was? Reading my props, huh? Number 1 was water, and that kind of makes sense, because what does water take up a lot of? Space. And filling up the space in the stomach actually contributes to satiety. Because as you'll learn more about this weekend, on the outside of the stomach, You have these little nerves called stretch receptors. And when you fill the stomach up, they stretch a little. They send signals to the brain, which help release all those chemicals telling you you're right? Don't you all like to get that feeling of full? So water is very important. Water helps, gives you that. And water also has a lot of weight, which helps give that stretch. Because some things have lots of volume, but they don't have a lot of weight, right? Like air. So water was very important. Anybody want to guess what number 2 was? That's right. Fiber. Now, fiber doesn't make sense when you think about it like water does, because fiber doesn't take up a lot of space. It doesn't have a lot of volume. But do you know what you get when you mix a lot of water and a lot of fiber together? You know what you get? You get a lot of, did you say gas? That's true. You get a lot of gas in the beginning. But you get something called bulk, right? And it turned out that bulk was the biggest contributor to your feeling full. Now, nutrients did play a role. You do have these nutrient receptors, and nutrients were important, but it turns out they're not the most important. So when they tell you to eat a diet high in protein or high in fat because that'll fill you up the most, it's not true. I could take 2 foods with the exact same amount of protein in them, and guess which one will fill you up more? The one that has the most bulk. Right. Think about that. So it's not just the protein or the fat, and I'm going to show you here in a minute. So here's what they did in the studies. So they did all these studies, they looked at all these foods, and let me show you the connection. What they found out is foods that are really bulky have a very low calorie density. And you know why? Because they have a lot of water. And water has a lot of weight, but how many calories? None. So it has all this weight with no calories, so the calorie density is very low. But they also found out those foods are very filling because they're bulky and they create the stretch. Now, so this was filling. Boiled potatoes was one of the most filling foods tested. They almost couldn't overeat on them. Now, here's what else. What if they took the potato, what if I took the potato, put a little oil on it, right? What would happen to the calories? Go way up. Would it fill me up anymore? No, so calorie density, when you add fat, calorie density goes way up. Satiety doesn't really change, but per calorie it actually goes down.